Would you like to have your query letter critiqued, but you don't want to pay to have that happen? You can get it done for free, but it will be public out here on my socials. My name is Gina. I'm an author, editor, publishing professional. I help you make writing better. Housekeeping: if you would like to submit for this, or if you would like to have your query letter edited not publicly through my editing business, information on how to do that is in my bio. If you don't want to wait for either of those very long lines, I do have a class link down below that is 3.5 hours of content that you can teach yourself this process, and is the entire querying process start to finish. It's only $30. It's about the cost of an add-on workshop at a writing conference, but you don't have to go travel for the writing conference. You can do it on your own schedule at home. It includes before and after of query letters that I have edited for people who have gone on to land agents or publishing deals. Lastly, there is a real life person on the other side of this, so while I am going to work to be constructive rather than destructive in feedback is still difficult to hear, so everyone's going to be nice in the comments section and no one is going to tell them to just go self-publish. All right, let's dive in. I'm seeking representation for my novel, Oh Divine Rot, at 75,000 words. It's first in a fantasy series. I would have thought something funny with that name, that explores historical themes and haunting folklore. So historical themes means nothing. Folklore fantasy, I would put it like, I would tack that onto fantasy, because we don't talk about like themes and what it explores in a query letter. But if we've got like haunting folklore, and that's kind of like an atmospheric subgenre here, I would go ahead and include that. So given your interest in blah blah, I believe this would be a good fit. Great, okay. The walls of Duskov are built tall. A fortress of man-made stone and shield against the dark terrors of the wild. This is very clearly world building. With his mighty demonstration of man's dominion, a scourge has festered, the rot. Within this mighty demonstration, amidst this outbreak, enter the Ranger. Does the Ranger have a name? A warhammer-wielding guide trained to protect her fledgling settlement and aid mankind in its quest to manifest destiny. Is there a bunch of these Rangers? So this is all world building, but it's introducing confusion, not intrigue. Calum, driven by her innate curiosity of the wild, is plagued by endless folk tales from her superstitious grandmother. Is she a Ranger? That's not clear. I don't know if she's a Ranger or if this is a new paragraph for a new character. I don't know what's happening. When Calum is contracted by a spineless husband in desperate pursuit of his missing wife, a fiend of old haunts her sleepless nights. So because this is capitalized, I assume that is tied to the folklore that we have up here. That's a very easy way. And like fiend is a word that we're familiar with, so like we can understand that this is a bad. So that's a very easy way to demonstrate like a world building element. But I think a lot of this is world building that doesn't need to be in here. Callum's hunt will take her into the darkest parts of yore that she hadn't known to be real, through caves of festering rot and into the old world where devils lurk in the shadows. Okay, so she goes on a quest. She's going to do the thing for the spineless husband? That kind of seemed like she wasn't going to, but she's going to. Okay. Divine Rot thrusts the reader into the wild, offering the question, what vile acts will the followers of an envious god commit in order to banish an old magic from mankind's memory? So that's a rhetorical question, and that is a really long rhetorical question. So what vile acts? So pose it as a hypothetical situation. So Callum has to discover what vile acts she's willing to endure in order to purge this god banish magic from mankind's memory. Is that what the rot is doing? Is killing off magic? This is a really long paragraph. Okay, so that's the whole thing. So who is our main character? I think it's Callum, but she's not introduced until halfway through, so that's hard to tell. But I'm going to go with her because it's the only character that we have. So Callum is, what is it that she wants? I don't know. She's going to do a job for somebody. I don't know if she wants to. I don't know what her reason is for doing this. I don't know. What is she willing to do to get it? I mean, she's going to do the job, so she's going to go out on a quest, but it's like is she a ranger? That's her job to do this. So she's trained for it. She's good at it. So she's just going to work. What is standing in her way? We list some things here. So like devils, festering rot. But that's, I don't know why that's standing in her way. Like, does she really want to recover this wife? Is she going to help the wife escape this guy? Is she going to, so he's spineless. Is he sending her out because he's too scared to go look for his wife? We have the wrong kinds of questions being asked in this query letter. And then what happens if she fails? It seems like magic is going to be erased. I don't know that she cares. Like, does that matter? Does the world continue on just magicless? What happened to the wife? Does that figure into this at all. So we've spent way too much time on this stuff up here. I really thought, like, with a name like that this was going to be kind of funny. And I don't entirely know why, but I did. So I don't know. And that could just be me. I don't know. So very unclear. Way too much time on world building stuff. Not enough on character stakes, story. We don't know what's going to happen. Like, this is just sort of like a concept. So let's keep going. Echoes the religious machinations of Dune. Witcher, Divine Rod is for readers who enjoy connections between history and fantasy, violence. Okay, so we have name dropped just like 4 of the biggest names and properties in speculative fiction over the last 40 years. Oh, Lord of the Rings, 60 years. So this tells me that you don't know what the current market is doing. These are all extremely old. I mean, I guess like Dune and The Witcher are being made into movies, but that you're not like referencing a specific title here. Like, this tells me that you don't know what the current market is doing, which would explain sort of the lack of a story up here. And I kind of said The Witcher because this sort of feels like we've been sent on a quest and like we're just going to complete the quest whether or not anything else matters. Like, that's sort of the vibe here. Set in a queer norm world, great, with a dash of sapphic intrigue and platonic companionship. As an educator, my writing is fueled by background in history and academic studies. Both, well, it's okay. So I would frame this differently. Like, you brought in that you're an educator. That's great. But we're not focusing on like why you write what you write, or where, like, usually that's not interesting, especially when it is like literature, politics, history, religion. Like, those fuel a lot of people. So this whole paragraph tells me that you kind of don't know what the current market is doing. And so we want to find comp titles or pitches. You can use some of this as a pitch, but if you're going to use comp titles, they need to be current. They need to be the right genre, the right category. And so this is very, very short. Maybe that's part of why I thought this was going to be funny, like it was going to be almost like a parody, because that's very, very short. Is this an adult fantasy? That is extremely short for adult fantasy. It's pretty short even for YA fantasy. We've got kind of a lot of stuff here. This is actually speaking to bigger issues within the manuscript itself, but we are also missing just all of those story pieces for the character.